What's going on, guys? So, as we all know, summer is coming to a close, so you all know what that means. It is time for me to share my top 5 summer movies of 2022. While I would love to come out and tell you guys that this summer movie season was absolutely incredible, unfortunately, it wasn't. And if I'm being completely honest with you all, the 2022 summer movie season was just okay. Now, do not get me wrong with you guys. There were some good, in fact, there were some great films that came out this summer, but if I'm looking at this as an overall package, this summer was just okay. In fact, it was kind of mediocre. And of course, if you couldn't until the crew is not around this time, one thing because, as you all know, Alex, Lucas, and Shane don't really watch movies as much as I do anymore, which is a damn shame because I would have loved to have had them on this. I'm here though nonetheless to give you guys my top 5 summer movies of 2022, along with the most surprising, the most disappointing, and of course, the shit stain of summer 2022. There are no honorable mentions, so let's just get right into it, starting off with number 5. Let's get it on! Number 5. Kicking off my top 5 list, at my number 5 is the movie that started off the summer movie season of 2022, and that is Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness was my most anticipated movie the entire summer. I was so hyped for this movie, knowing how much I love the first Doctor Strange film. Was this movie as good, if not better than the first Doctor Strange? Unfortunately, it wasn't. In fact, I do think this movie is weaker than the first movie. There's issues with story, and it feels like with the pace and as just trying to rush that finish line, I cannot deny this to you all. But at the same time though, nonetheless, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was just a pure kinetic Sam Raimi bonkers thrill ride that I had so much fun with. It's very Sam Raimi with the MCU part coming second, and I absolutely love that. The way that Sam Raimi transports us into the more horror and the more darker side of the MCU. Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff absolutely kills it. Seeing where she takes Scarlet Witch this time around was such a thrill, and plus, if you guys have seen the film, you'll know what happens. I'm not going to say it in case if you guys have not seen it, because there was some pretty cool shit in Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness. All that I wanted was just a bonkers thrill ride. And while there were issues, this movie gave me what I wanted. I've seen it 3 times now, and every time I've seen it, I've had a big grin across my face. It was Sam Raimi doing an MCU film, and I had a blast with this movie. Number 4. Coming up next, at my number 4 spot is the definition of a fun thrill ride, pun intended, and that is Bullet Train. This movie was just a kick-ass time, and it just delivered exactly what it was going to set out to do. I personally do not understand the hate this movie is getting, because I know the movie is like in the 50s or on Tomatoes. This deserves at least in the 60s, maybe low 70s. I described this movie in my own review as essentially John Wick meets a Guy Ritchie film like Snatch, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, or something like The Gentleman, for God's sakes. And that's what we got, although a bit of a lighter version of a Guy Ritchie film. It does take a little bit of time to get going, and there are a couple of times where it feels like it does a pointless cutaway for just no reason whatsoever. The movie is full of color, fun characters, especially Lemon and Tangerine are portrayed by Brian Tyree Henry and Aaron Taylor Johnson, which, once again, they deserve their own spinoff. If they do get their spinoff, I will happily be there day one. The action sequences are so much fun to watch. It's gory, it's over the top, and it's everything I wanted. Bullet Train is the type of film that you sit down with a big-ass bucket of popcorn and a big-ass soda and just have a great time. And I had a great time with Bullet Train. At my number 3 spot is a movie that I, honest to God, don't understand why this movie was released in theaters, and that is Prey. This movie, guys, is fucking badass. Not only is Prey a great Predator film, but it's also a great coming-of-age tale told in the Predator universe. Amber Midthunder is an absolute star. I can't wait to see where she goes. Not to mention as well that I love that fucking dog. Dan Trachtenberg's direction is absolutely incredible, taking the film back to basics while still expanding its scope, knowing where the franchise is heading. The Predator itself looked like an absolute badass. The cinematography is gorgeous, the musical score is awesome, and not to mention that the film is brutal. The film isn't brutal like there's blood and gore all over the place, but when I'm talking brutal, there are some awesome kills. In particular, that kill with the Predator with his shield against that one person up against a tree was badass. The final action sequence in Prey was just, oh my god, talk about a crowd pleaser. Once again, I don't understand when this movie was released in theaters. This movie would have been such a crowd pleaser in the theaters, especially that one take action sequence. Prey was such an awesome film. I hope they continue the story, and if they do, I can't wait to see where the story goes next. Number 2. At my number 2 spot is The Black Phone. This movie was awesome. I'm a big fan of Scott Derrickson. I mean, I love his work on Sinister, Exorcism of Emily Rose, Deliverance from Evil, which, by the way, very underrated film. When it came to Scott Derrickson coming back to the horror genre, I got so excited, and man, The Black Phone surpassed pretty every expectation that I had for it. Mason Thames and Madeline McGraw are absolute stars. I can't wait to see where they go next. Ethan Hawke as the Grabber is one of the creepiest fuckers I have seen in a horror film in the past 5 to 10 years, cause man, he is that good. Not only is it a pretty frightening film with some pretty scary moments, I mean, there is a jump scare in this film that, holy shit, it got me. At the same time though, what I love the most about The Black Phone is that at the very core is a touching sibling story about these siblings that love each other. The backstories that these characters have, the relationship these two have with their father and with everything going around them, and how it correlates to Mason Thames' character trying to get out of this basement. Not to mention as well that there were some great reveals, in particular one where I just went when it came down to that final confrontation. I will never forget the reaction that everybody had at my screening, the clapping, the cheering, oh my god. And yeah, I was one of those that clapped. It is just a great film. I have seen the film 3 times now, and every time I see it, it gets better and better. What a great movie this was. It's number 1. Here we are, guys, coming on to my number 1 favorite movie of the summer movie season of 2022. You guys should know what this is because it is the only movie I gave a 5 out of 5 to. But in case if y'all somehow don't know what that movie is, my number 1 movie of this year's summer movie season is Top Gun Maverick. I cannot describe to you guys how much I love this movie. I love the first Top Gun movie so much. It's one of my favorite films from the 80s. Now, do not get me wrong, I don't think it's one of the greatest films of all time, but I do think that film is a very important film to the 1980s. Knowing how much I love that film, I was very hesitant on seeing a sequel, especially when I learned that Aaron Kruger, who is one of my least favorite screenwriters out there, contributed to the screenplay. Last year at CinemaCon, I saw the first 13 minutes of the film, and what I saw almost completely took away my worries. At this year's CinemaCon, the reactions I heard were absolutely amazing, so hearing all of this got me even more excited. Top Gun Maverick had no right being as good. Actually, scratch that. Top Gun Maverick had no right being as terrific as this was. Top Gun Maverick is one of the greatest sequels I have ever seen, and I firmly stand by this. This movie is how a legacy sequel should be done. Top Gun Maverick not only has a terrific and a very heartwarming story, and a very emotional story for that matter, the performances are great, especially the relationship between Tom Cruise and Miles Teller. Glenn Powell as Hangman was terrific. The action sequences are absolutely enthralling. The cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. The musical score is pulse-pounding, and by the end, man, I just got goosebumps just saying that, because the third act of Top Gun Maverick is truly, guys, one of the most exciting third acts of a movie that not only I have seen all summer, but in a movie this year. Simply put, guys, Top Gun Maverick is absolutely phenomenal and exceeded every expectation that I had, and that is why that Top Gun Maverick is my #1 movie of the summer movie season of 2022. At this point, if you guys have seen the top 5 summer films videos previous to this one, you will all know that I would have it most surprising. Well, unfortunately, guys, this summer, I have no biggest surprise, because no film this summer surprised me that much. Now, with all that being said, guys, let's move on to the most disappointing. Oh, shit! Unfortunately, there wasn't a most surprising film of the summer. But in terms of a most disappointing film, oh, there were quite a few of them. There were actually 4 I could put on the spot right now. I could have put Crimes the Future on here, I could have put Jurassic World Dominion on here, and I could have put that movie Men on here. But I just did a review on this movie. You should know what that is. My most disappointing film of the summer is Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. And this really fucking hurts, man. Because like I mentioned, I love A24. I'm one of the biggest supporters of A24 out there, at least amongst my group of friends out there. In my review, I had mentioned this movie fails on pretty much every single level. As a horror fan, there was nothing that was remotely scary about this film, minus one tension-filled sequence. As a comedy, it's not even close to being funny, minus one moment that I chuckled. I was fucking annoyed more than anything else. As a slasher, there's barely a slasher moment in this film besides, well, you know, the moment that, well, a character dies, that's all I'm gonna say. As a whodunit film, I predicted what was going to happen, no joke at least with the person that was supposed to be the killer in the first 20 minutes of the film, and the characters. Oh my god, these characters drove me in the fucking wall! When all this crescendos into one of the dumbest twists I have seen in years. Yeah, I really wanted to like Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I was so excited to see this film. I was so excited seeing Down. But by the end of this movie, I feel like I just wasted my time. There's a lot of critics out there that love this film, and a couple of people I know really like this film. I'm happy you guys enjoyed it. I wish I was in your boat, because for me personally, I could not stand this movie. Now, guys, we have come to that time that you've all been waiting for. It is time for my shit stain of the summer movie season of 2022. Now, you guys are probably asking, Bodies, 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 wouldn't that be your biggest shit stain? As much as I dislike Bodies, 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 there was one film that came out, I believe it was either late May or early June. It was out in theaters, however, I made the decision to stay home to watch this on Peacock. You guys know what that is. My shit stain of the summer is Firestarter. This goddamn trash fire. I hated every single moment of Firestarter. All the actors in this movie feel like they're taking a paycheck. Firestarter feels like a made-for-TV movie it feels like it was made for the Lifetime channel, but because a big-time producer and because of a big actor that were in it, it got not only a Peacock release, but released in the movie theater. In terms of the directing, the writing, oh my god, the writing is terrible. I did not buy Zac Efron being this girl's dad. Maybe her older brother, sure, but her dad? Hell no. The reason why that they're on the run is because of a fucking bully, if you've seen the film. Don't let the bully take any accountability. No. We don't let him because of, oh my god. I have not read the book and I have not seen the original film with Drew Barrymore. This movie fails as a horror film because there's no horrors in this movie whatsoever. There's no scares. It fails as a drama. Yes, it tries to be a drama. It fails as a sci-fi film. Yes, it tries to be a sci-fi. It fails to be an action film. This movie was so boring. I should save this for when we get to my worst film just because you bet your ass it's gonna be my worst film tier list. Well, I could just talk so much shit. I value your time, and that is why that Firestarter is the shit stain of summer movies for 2022. That's gonna wrap it up for my top 5 summer movies of 2022, along with my most surprising, well, lack of most surprising, I should say, my most disappointing, and my shit stain of summer 2022. Comment down, let me know below, what is your top 5 along with your most surprising, disappointing, and your shit stain? Let me know below. If you guys want to follow me on social media, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. I'm also on Snapchat, so if you guys want to follow me on all those social media platforms, all the links and usernames in the description below. I hope you all enjoyed my top 5 summer movies of 2022. If so, please hit that like button, also subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell for my latest top 5 or my latest video goes live. If you guys want to see my previous 2 videos, please click right there or right there. And then of course, until my next review or video goes live, I will see you all next time.